Because if you can set them up, the only problem you're going to have is if you make a mistake in your math. A private hauling company gives 10% of their profit each year to charity. One year their profit was $65,000, so now we know they give 10% of $65,000, right? Because that is their profit. How much did they give? So how are you going to set that up? What are you looking for? The is. You're looking for the part, because you know they're not going to give the whole to charity. They're not that magnanimous. So you're looking for the part. We know the whole is 65,000. We know the percent is 10, right? So where does the 65,000 go, on the top or bottom? Bottom. You're looking for the top, right? And we have the 10 over 100. Okay, let's do some more problems. 168. And I want to show you one more thing, because we've gone through all this, but there are some shortcuts. One thing you need to know always is how to find 10% of anything, any number. To find 10% of any number, someone tell us, how do you do that? 10% of 150. How do you find 10%? One time. One time back is 10%. You've divided it by 10 when you go back one time. 10% of 150 is 15. You should never set up a problem to find 10% of a number. 10% of anything. I want to find 10% of that. 26.4. 10% of any number, just go back one time. So if you went to dinner and your meal was $264, first of all, you big ballin' if that's the case. But I will tell you, some of you were here last week know I went to Vegas this past weekend for my niece's 40th birthday, and we ate at the seafood restaurant in Caesar's Palace, and it said on there the cost of crab legs, which is what she wanted for dinner, and a couple of others. There was 10 of us there. And anytime you go to a place and it says, even Red Lobster will have that market value. Market value means whatever it costs that day, whatever the market is paying that day for a pound of crab legs, that's their cost. Do you know what the market value was of those crab legs? They were king crab legs, really big, and of course they're saying they're the best in the world, but anyway, the market value of those crab, just take a guess. No, we wasn't balling like that. Like what do you think? You're in that business. Well, my daughter was manager of Red Lobster for years, and she out east, and she said that she did that one time at Scotch and Sirloin, and it said market value, and she figured, well, the most it could be is $30 a pound, and so she figured it couldn't be more than $30, $40, and she was hoping about 30. She was willing to pay that particular day for some reason. The market value that day that we were there, $80. $80. 3 of them ordered that. The lady next to me who ordered filet mignon with lobster tail. Hers was also market value. I don't even know what hers was. It had to be about $100 for one meal. Wait, and it didn't come with sides.
I bet you did.
Yeah, you know, some of those restaurants like that, you know, you have to get sides. Everything's extra. Salad, anything. The only thing they give you is bread.
I bet you they jacked the price and said it costed that much, but it didn't really cost.
Well, you know they're making a profit, and if they're in Caesar's Palace, they're paying a big buck to be there for one thing, but I'll let you know, your teacher did not eat crab. Look, what I did, so my niece said the next day, she said, yeah, you got the cheapest thing on the menu. Sure did. But I wasn't just looking for the cheapest thing. I was looking for something that was reasonable that I would like. And they had some shrimp, $21, and I ate some of their sides. Because they got it like that, obviously. If they're paying $80 for crab, they can buy sides. But yeah, so, but anyway, so I left before I gave my sister my money, and went shopping, went looking for other things, so I don't know what that total bill was for those 10 people there, but it was more than $264, I can tell you that. So, if that happened to be your bill, and you want to know, well, how much tip should I use, should I leave? First of all, when you got more than a few people, they tell you what tip that you leave, because they make it 20%, and they add it to your bill. You have no choice. But if you're just there with your honey or something, and you spend this much, and you say, how much tip should I leave? Well, the average tip is 15%, okay? So, if it was $264, if I bring it back one, that's $26.40 is 10%. Right? We found that easily, just by taking it back once. 5% would then be half of 10%, right? So that would be $13.20. And together, that would be 15%, so I know you need to leave that for a tip.
Hey, I need to work there.
Well, any place you work if you make that, if the bill is that high,
Well, yeah,
but you'd have to be at a place that the bill could get that high.
Well, I need to go there.
So if your bill is $23.75, 10% would be $2.38. Because money stops here, you have to round off. If the next number is 5 or more, this goes up 1. If it's less than 5, it would stay 37.
But doesn't it, money-wise, doesn't it have to go up though?
It should know, it only goes up if this next number is 5 or more, okay? So that's 10%. And then we'd still have to pay half of 10%. So you should leave $3.57. Anything over that is more than 15%. But that's how you can figure it quickly, okay? 15%. Take 10%, then half of 10% and add it together. Now, if you're at a sale, and it said they're going to take 30% off, and it costs $23.75, and I want to know how much are they going to take off. Anytime it's a multiple of 10, take 10%. $2.38. This is 3 tens. Just multiply it by 3. And in my head, I'd probably just say it's $2.40. 3 twos is 6. 3 40s is $1.27.20. So I could do that in my head quickly. So they're going to take off about $7.20 off of it. So anytime if it's 40%, I take 10% and multiply times 4. Never figure those multiples of 10. Figure them out like that. 10%, move back 1. Any multiple of 10, just multiply it by that multiple. And Jeff, Bill will be here at 6:30 for tutoring.
Okay.
Okay. And if anyone else wants to stay, there is a gentleman who comes in every other Wednesday evening from 6:30 to 7:30, and we'll work with you one-on-one for math. So if you want some additional math tutoring, please take advantage of him. We're very fortunate that he wants to spend his evening doing that. He comes to Wichita in business from Olathe or Overland Park or somewhere around Kansas City.
Olathe.
From Olathe. He comes every other Wednesday, every other week to for work. And then while he's here, he's the pleasure here in Wichita or here?
No, just for here to
Just volunteer, yes. He doesn't get paid. He called me.
That's a very nice guy.
Yes, it is. He called. He wanted to find an adult ed center. That he said he did tutoring in the program there, and now that he's coming down here, he enjoyed doing that. So that's giving back, and that's good to do that. And so, since he comes, I'd like to have somebody for him to help. Last time he came, Jeff wasn't here, so nobody stayed. And so there was a couple of folks who said they would have stayed but hadn't planned on it that night, didn't know he was coming. But he comes every other Wednesday. He stays from 6:30 to 7:30. You don't have to be with him the whole hour, but you can spend part of the time with him. He can take up to 2 people at a time. So
Oh, when I was
his name's Bill.
gone for 2 weeks, I had a bad cold.
Yeah, I know that. I got the message that you were sick. So any questions about that, doubling and tripling percent? It really helps out when you're shopping, because you wanna know, okay, they're taking off 40% or they're taking off 30%, you wanna figure out just how much are they taking off, is it really a good deal, or do I have enough money? Then you can do that just quickly, just take 10%, multiply by 3, here's a question.
So 26 and 40 cents, if that would have been 30%?
No, I was doing, this is for this.
Yeah.
This is when we tried to find 15%.
But if it would have been 30?
Oh, then I would have gotten the 2640 times 3.
Times 3.
And I probably would have just said, just in my mind, just to know, I probably just said 27 times 3, because that would take me closer
And
to
that's,
it.
that's it, that's the answer.
That would be, well, the actual answer, I'd have to actually multiply it times
Well,
3.
but I mean, no, I mean, but it would be,
That's the answer, yeah.
Oh, wow.
30% of it, this is 10% times 3.
I always thought it would be so much harder.
So if I wanted to find it for real, I want to know what is 30% of 2640. No, it was 264, right? If I want to find 30% of it, I multiply this times this. Divided by 100. And then 20 the same thing. That way. That's why you're here. You'd be wasting your time if you were learning something, right? Okay, make it worth your while to come. Yeah. Now you do. You teach it to somebody else. That's when